All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's after training camp practice number 18 with the good and the bad and maybe the not so good from today's practice. All right, let's start with the good. Brock Purdy finished this practice in fuego. Now, his numbers don't look incredible, 12 of 21, 3 touchdowns, 3 or 4 touchdowns, but man, he was sharp late in this practice. Final sequence, he goes deep down the seam to Juice for just a flat-out dime. That was an incredible pass. And then after a J.P. Mason run, he throws a slant put it right on Ayuk's hands. Another dime. Then Purdy throws an in-cutter to Chris Conley, put it right on his hands, and then he capped the sequence with a fade. I don't know if it was a fade, kind of a corner route to Debo for a touchdown in the red zone that just lofted it perfect, hit him right in the hands. I mean, it was the way you want your starting quarterback, 3 weeks before the opener to look. He looked fantastic. So that to me was the major good of the practice, was just the way Brock Purdy finished the practice. He looked really, really sharp. Sam Darnold started hot. I mean, he started really hot. I think he was 6 of 7 to start the practice, but finished 7 of 10. Darnold had a couple of really, really nice passes early on in the practice, and also Darnold looked good throwing the ball to the receivers in the receiver drills. Anthony Miller, Braden Willis, Cam Latu all hooked up with Darnold on really nice pitch and catches in the kind of the one-on-one drills before the team session started. So that was a real positive. Also, a couple other positives. Deshaun Jameson had Darnold went deep down the sideline, and Jameson. Now, this is a play that a lot of young corners, don't play the deep ball with a lot of poise, right? And there's something really veteran about Deshaun Jameson, and it's the reason I think he's probably going to make this roster. He had a nice PBU on this play that Darnold went deep, tried to test him deep, and a lot of guys panic in that situation. He stayed right with this receiver, and then at the last second, without a lot of movement, just swatted it away at the last second. A very veteran-like move from a very young player. We got our first look today at a couple young 49ers, or new 49ers. I don't know if I call them young 49ers, but Brian Hill had a couple of nice inside runs. He showed that he's got some instincts, and he should. He's a 220-pound veteran running back who has played some good football. And then J.P. Mason had a really nice practice today. He had one handoff in the backfield where he spun away from a defender and made a nice run. He had another one where he ran to his right and then did a nice little jump cut, very explosive jump cut, and created room and kept the run going. I thought Mason looked very sharp today. Diamador Lenore had a really nice solo tackle of Debo Samuel in a ball out in the flat, where if he hadn't made the solo tackle, Debo was gone, and Lenore came over and snuffed him out. Javon Hargrave had a beautiful sack of Brock Purdy where he stayed low, kept the pad level low, and sacked the quarterback. Mooney Ward, who's the Niners' number 1 corner, had a great PBU on an in-cutting route to Juwan Jennings. Jennings himself has really looked sharp in some of these drills as well. Jennings just makes catch after catch after catch in the individual drills. So that was definitely a positive, the way he played in the individual drills. And then, of course, Mooney Ward batted one away that was intended for him. A guy that looks really sharp right now in practice is Jack Coletto, the rookie fullback. Now, he needs to get stronger, he needs to get bigger, he needs to get quicker. But, man, his hand-eye coordination's excellent. He runs the right route. Darnold caught him in the flat on a nice little swing pass. And swing passes are not necessarily the easiest passes to catch because you're kind of moving upfield, but you don't want to peek upfield. So you got to keep it takes a lot of mental focus because you got to focus on the quarterback while running upfield. And the tendency anytime you're running upfield is to want to peek. And he didn't, and he hasn't done it at all this summer. I mean, he's really shown a lot of eye discipline there, and Coletto made a nice grab there. Javon Kinlaw had a really nice tip of a Brock Purdy pass that he almost picked out of the air for an interception. Lance had two really nice throws too. He had a laser slant to Kamla 2, put it right on his hands, and he also hit Anthony Miller in the flat with another really, really sharp pass. It was a weird practice, so that's the good of the day. Also good, Jed York, Alex Smith, Joe Staley were all here today, so that was kind of cool to see those guys. And the other good was Sam Darnold started hot. He started 6 of 7. He finished 7 of 10, but he started hot. And then Lance started 0 for 4, and all 4 of his passes were high, but then finished 4 for 4. And probably the worst play for Lance today was he had a screen pass. He's got Ty Davis Price, 4 or 5 feet away, and he just throws a laser right at him and just ricocheted off his face mask and shoulder pads. And it's like, this is why Trey Lance is not starting. It's not that he's not good. He is good. It's not that he doesn't have talent. He does have talent. It's just that he still needs refinement on what throws to make and when to throw lasers and when to take a little off and how to throw a very catchable ball underneath. A screen pass that there's no defender between you and your running back, you got to complete that 100% of the time. And he the one he threw today, he wouldn't have completed that if he threw it 100 times the same way. So it's that kind of thing, rawness, newness, lack of reps, that really means that he's not ready to be the number 1 quarterback. But it also shouldn't be overreacted to. You know what I'm saying? He still has enormous talent. And just because he's ricocheting a shot off of TDP on a screen pass, he'll learn to throw that pass. But today, he showed that an example of why, he's not going to start, because he still has refinement on his touch and his timing that needs to happen. As far as the bad from today's practice, I'll give one. Robert Beal Jr. has got a hamstring injury. He did not practice. He needs to practice. Robert Beal Jr. could make this team, and he could make an impact this year. I don't know what they're going to do with him, because he's missed an awful lot of practices. So I looked at that as a bad thing, just because he's got, the cut down's on the 29th. Beal's got to get out there and start to practice consistently if he wants to make this team. He's got amazing talent, but you got to play. You got to play. As they say, you can't make the club in the tub. Other bad things today, it was a long, hot practice, and it was sloppy. There were lots of penalties. There was a lot of lack of focus. I saw, a couple drops from, guys like Debo and Ayuk, guys who don't drop the ball a lot. There were some penalties on the offensive line. There was a couple penalties. Guys jumped off sides. Just lack of focus, sloppy practice overall. And it was an afternoon practice. It was a hot day here in Santa Clara, so maybe that was part of it. The other negatives today, there was a big brawl. Some coaches would say that's a positive, and guys really want it, but you never want to see guys throwing blows. It was a running play to J.P. Mason, and Warner kind of threw him down extra hard, and Mason kept going, and then Lenore and him started bumping bodies, and before we know it, Lenore and Mason are throwing hands, and, it wasn't truly ugly or anything, but clearly was a training camp brawl. It was on the second play of the 11-on-11, so that wasn't necessarily great to see. And other than that, I thought it was a pretty good practice. There was more positives than negatives for sure. Anthony Miller, on a good note, made some nice catches. On a bad note, it seemed like he finished the practice by cutting off his tape. I don't know if on his ankle. I don't know if he hurt the ankle or what. Overall, there were some good, there were some bad. There was, Robert Beal not practicing is not a good thing. Brawling in the middle of the practice is not a great thing. General sloppiness and lack of attention to detail is never a good thing. It's understandable, though. This is practice 18, and, this was a long, hot afternoon practice that went over 2 hours. So, anyway, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Go say hi to Damon, go say hi to Mary, and make sure you tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. Get the brisket. The brisket chili is amazing, guys. You do not want to miss the brisket chili. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube, and that does it for the good and the bad for training camp practice number 18.